The city of Cape Town has closed yet another beach. This follows the announcement this past weekend that the city's beaches were all open after several closures due to sewage contamination. Hout Bay is the latest to be affected by the same incident. More than 6 incidents of sewage contamination have led to the temporary closure of 5 Cape Town beaches, and that's since November last year. Senior reporter Silindelo Masikane has been covering that story. She joins us now. Slee, thanks indeed for talking to us. Another beach closed. Put us into perspective. What's the context here?
Well, as you've stated, that since around November last year, the city of Cape Town has been dealing with sewage spills, and that is due to the failure of perhaps generators coming into gear when load shedding kicks in, and of course other pump stations which unfortunately have not been upgraded in terms of having backup power in incidents of load shedding, and that is of course according to the city of Cape Town. And in fact, just this past weekend, Devon, we were with the mayor, who was actually reopening Strand Beach, which was one of those that had also succumbed to sewage spills and had to be closed temporarily. And according to the city of Cape Town, these closures are for, at a time, a max of around 2 days. And that is, of course, to ensure that the water is safe to be used or for swimming, in fact, for the public. And so the latest beach, as you've stated, is Hout Bay. And we were there earlier this morning with my colleague Zaid Harris, and what we saw, of course, was the fact that, in fact, people can go onto the beach. However, no swimming is allowed at this stage. We had an opportunity to speak to the mayor with regards to what the future plans are, because we know, of course, around this time of year, the tourism sector, especially in the city of Cape Town, is relying on the fact that it needs the beaches to be open so it can be enjoyed by the public at large. Let's take a listen to the mayor in terms of the plans to ensure that there is backup power for these pump stations. Let's take a listen.
We are still able to protect Cape Town customers from at least one stage of load shedding. But still, to be honest, the impact on infrastructure, on lives, on businesses is really, really negative. But the cost of the pump station upgrade so that they are immune from load shedding is extremely expensive. And this is the case across all of our infrastructure to prevent the negative impact of load shedding, particularly now with, as we heard today or last night, nearly permanent stage 6 load shedding. It's extremely serious. All of our major infrastructure needs to have big backup generators. Some of these generators have to be huge, not just small generators. Those generators are powered by diesel, obviously. They have to be filled up. Sometimes they have to be filled up every second or third day with diesel. The cost of this is millions and millions, probably tens of millions to the city and ultimately to the public who have to pay for this.
Slee, you've got to get the analysts, you've got to get the industry experts as well looking at this and really forecasting what's to come. What are they saying about mitigating this? How far are we from some sort of an answer?
Well, speaking to one expert, Devon, I can tell you that they believe that the excuse or the reason coming from the city of Cape Town around load shedding being the major factor around why they're having an issue with sewage spills, they're saying that it's not really consistent with what they have seen over the past couple of years, saying that we've known about load shedding for at least a decade now, and they believe the major issue or the real issue really is that there's been poor budgeting and poor maintenance of these pump stations and the infrastructure. Let's take a listen.
We've been knowing load shedding is coming and happening and getting worse by the year for a number of years, at least a decade. So I'm concerned that there has not been proper planning to put more standby generators in key places to kick in when the power goes off. There's really been under budgeting and underspending on maintaining our sewer systems right across. It's not only this city, but right across South Africa, so that there's such a massive load of sewage reaching our rivers, which reach our seas. So maintenance will really have to be improved significantly to stop all this mess. Because in inland cities, what we're talking about with sewage reaching rivers is also the next town's drinking water.
The city is scapegoating or gaslighting or whatever you want to call it, because I think the truth is that the sewage spills that we're seeing is because of a lack of investment in infrastructure. So we need to focus on investing in infrastructure. We need to focus on those communities where there is an underinvestment. In other words, where the infrastructure cannot support the number of people who are living there. And that is not the suburbs. It is the township communities on the Cape Flats, and it is the informal settlements. And so contamination of our water works, of our waterways and our wetlands and our beaches will continue because sewage is being diverted into the stormwater system because the sewage system cannot manage the load.
All right, opposition parties in the city of Cape Town also not convinced over load shedding reasons. Well, thanks very much indeed, Silindelo Masikane there for us in Cape Town on that story of the closure of beaches.